Right, we are now joined by our NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race winner. That's Corey Heim, driver of the number 11 Tricon Garage Toyota. If you have a question for Corey, please raise your hand and we will get a wireless microphone to you. Who would like to start us off? Okay, let's go to Davey, then to Greg.
Davey Siegel with Sirius XM. Was there anything that you guys took from last year to this year, or with the repave, was it just totally different?
No, it was totally different. You know, I think they kept a lot of the characteristics that made this place. Was that
It's
me?
upstairs.
I gotcha. They kept a lot of characteristics that made this place what it is, so that's really cool. You know, you see a lot of tracks that were built more recently be just completely level and not a lot of characteristic to them, especially new repaves in the modern, era. But you know, kept the uphill down the back stretch, downhill into the front stretch, and some of the seams and some of the bumps and whatnot were still there. So that was cool to see. And yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about the repave. I mean, we came into this event, thinking it was going to be single file around the bottom, really tough to pass. But sure enough, it was pretty good. I mean, we could move around, we could find different grooves. Had to chase the rubber, to find grip a lot, which makes short track racing what it is. Moving around and finding grip and capitalizing on that. So that was really cool to see, and yeah, I'm definitely glad to be a part of it.
Scott was saying with the storm last night, the pit box was like halfway underwater. Your guys' truck was a little bit underwater as well. What did you know or see about your truck and the condition of it ahead of today?
Yeah, I mean, you of course you hope for no water damage. I mean, the truck was submerged in almost 3 feet of water. We picked probably the worst pit box in that case scenario, but obviously you can never really intend on something like that happening. I don't think I've ever seen that much rain come down in an hour in my life. So that was crazy, but we thankfully were able to wipe it down and just make sure there was no damage, and was able to recover from that for sure.
Go to Greg Engel, Reed, and then Lee.
Hey, congratulations on the win. And not to take away from that, but when you got out of the truck and you could hear all the cheers and everything, did you realize that some of those were for Butterbean?
Well, not really, because I was leading the race, but I heard he did a really good job. So really, big props to him. He was really fast yesterday. Maybe it was Friday. I lose track with all these weather delays, but whatever day we practiced on, he did a great job. Obviously, he was P1 in practice, and to hop in a brand new race car and go that fast is super impressive for him. And I've tried to help him as much as I could. Just coming from the same race car that he did, as far as a late model stock, and then hopping in a truck, had a similar path as me. So he's been very open to asking questions, and just seems like a sponge. So he's done a great job so far, and we'd love to have him back.
Thanks, pal.
Reed?
Reed Spencer for the NASCAR Wire. With all the varying pit strategies today, were you concerned at all when you had to restart 13th about midway through the race?
For sure. I think, we found out pretty quickly that it was going to be a very track position based race, but our Safe Flight Thunder 280 Pro was really good. And we were able to find some grooves and lines that worked for us, and able to recover from that track position. And I don't really know if the tires helped us. I think our truck was really good, so that was kind of most of it. But, after yesterday, we were on 2 tires, and the 98 was on no tires, and we restarted, and he pretty much pulled away from us. So at that point, we kind of knew tires were not all that important. So we kind of made our bed with the 4-tire stop strategy, and we kind of knew what we were getting ourselves into coming into today, and we knew that there was going to be guys that took 2 tires, but of course our Thunder 280 Pro was good enough to where we could pull away and win the race.
Just from a big picture standpoint, having run those races in Cup, how does it help your racecraft after having that experience, then coming back to the Truck Series?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like, having been around those guys for the 2 weeks that I was, and just seeing their racecraft and what they do so well, it definitely is a little bit of a wake-up call to, figure it out quicker than the competition, I guess. So, I think all around, it just makes you a better driver racing against good guys. Truck Series has a lot of good drivers as well, but of course Cup Series is where the best of the best are. So to be around those guys and race around them and see what they did so well and why they're there is cool. And I think it's definitely helped me coming back down to trucks.
Jim Utter.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. Corey, obviously you had a great season last year. You've already matched your win total. In what ways do you think that are you and your team better positioned to be taking advantage and getting to victory lane on a more frequent basis this year?
The main part is just we're closing races out. We were so fast through this summer stretch last year and all the way through the fall to Phoenix. You know, I thought we were the best truck more times than not throughout the race, and we'd lead a lot of laps. But you know, I would do something wrong, or we just have some misfortune in stage 3 and just not be able to close it out. We always finished well, but you know, the wins were probably down compared to how much speed we had throughout the year. So to come back into this year and look over that in the off season and be able to understand how to close those races out and just have those races and experiences and how they, you know, took me away from wins ultimately last year, and to build off of that this year was big, you know, in my off season preparation. So I think experience is huge, and just understanding and making mistakes, I guess, is the main thing, is to understand how to close these races out.
Steve Wilson, SpeedwayDigest.com. You guys finally got to race this weekend. First really race all week long just because of the weather. Going into later tonight, what do you think the guys should expect from this track now that they've finally been able to see something this week and been able to gauge the new surface?
Yeah, I think the main thing is that track position is huge. You know, from our race, you know, I was able to drive back to the front with a good truck, but if everyone's running the same speed, it's going to be near impossible to get back there, you know, unless you're just the track widens out even more than it already has, and you can find some more grip up top. But it's hard to say because it's rained so much throughout the weekend that the track almost resets every time and gets dirty, and then you have to kind of go through those same motions of laying rubber down and waiting for the track to come in, kind of like we saw for the first 20 to 30 laps this morning. But now that there's rubber down, I feel like they're not going to see that big swing from the beginning to the end of the race. I mean, you know, for our race, we started out really, really loose, and then by the end of it, we were really tight. So I don't think they'll see that swing in their race, even though they're on a softer tire, a different compound. You know, I think they'll probably stay more stagnant as far as their handling throughout the race. So I think, you know, people are going to have to be heads up about that and just make sure that they don't get too far ahead of themselves.
Any final questions for Corey? All right, Corey, congratulations.
Thanks.